Hello, all you fantastic people. Hello, Reds, and of course, hello, all of you rival fans that are in the live chat as well. Happy weekend. We are here Saturday morning. Premier League is here. Remember when we actually used to look forward to the weekend's football being here? Honestly, I don't know where we're at with Man United at the moment. I don't know if it's the fact that we don't know how we're going to perform or the fact that we just don't play on weekends anymore. It just seems weird. Whenever a weekend comes along, it's like, just plan it out because United aren't even there and not even playing. Anyway, we'll deal with Wolves when we get a little bit closer to it. I'm still scared of what might happen after that game and how this fan base is going to be. But we've got plenty of other things to talk about before that, and that is in the transfer situation. Now, last night I did a video, and thank you everybody for all of your comments. There was a lot of really in-detail comments on that video last night. I felt a lot of passion coming from most of you who did actually respond to the video last night. It was my main concerns for the future of Manchester United. One of them concerns was the transfer situation and what's actually happening or what could happen for United. It's all right having these targets in line. It's all right having the potential signings that could come and change Manchester United or make us that better team. Wanting rid of the deadwood and wanting rid of players that have constantly failed and replacing them with good players, it's a great conversation. But we need to see it happen. We need to see the reality of them players actually coming into Manchester United. So the video was on the future and the concerns. And if Manchester United don't get it right now, then what will happen to the academy of the future? Will they want to move away like JJ Gabriel going to Barcelona or something like that? Shea Lacey being wasted in the first team because we are playing these players that have wasted and wasted and wasted away at this football club for so many years. Another important part to that was the transfer side of things. Our targets are just not going to want to come to Manchester United if we continue to drop. The Manchester United name can only carry you so far. And the future of this football club depends on how we do and how we perform in the Premier League. We need European football. We need to be back on the bigger stage. I'm actually looking at this situation now and saying, do you know what? Let's go and test these clubs' resolve. Let's go and act like Manchester United, like you talk about Manchester United in January. Now, I'm bringing that up because of the Carlos Baleba situation and where we're actually at with it. So obviously, Carlos Baleba is the one player that we know is a definite target for Manchester United because of last summer. And he's probably the best chance we've got of bringing in a better midfielder this summer because he wants Manchester United, and that still is the case. But the stories around Bayern Munich coming in and being interested, that they concern me. They concern me massively because that's a club that is stable. That's a club that offers more. And that's a club that will guarantee silverware and a brighter future. At the moment, Manchester United's uncertainty is really causing a problem. The price for Carlos Baleba is supposedly or reportedly now a little bit less than what was being rumoured in the summer. Now, we heard the talks of 100 million for Carlos Baleba. The talk from Germany in their look on things and coming in for Carlos Baleba has been round about the £75 million mark, but in bigger instalments. So there you go. There's less, but you get it quicker. So that's where they're actually at the moment. Bayern Munich coming in for Carlos Baleba would be a massive problem for Manchester United. Manchester United right now, with all of the targets, we're hearing about Carlos Baleba here with Bayern Munich. It's not just him. It's obviously the Manchester City, the Arsenal, the Liverpool, the Spurs, that everybody else in for Elliot Anderson, including Real Madrid, for God's sake, in for him. Adam Wharton doesn't want to move to any club that doesn't have Champions League football. All of these top targets that Manchester United is supposedly going through, just wait it out. January isn't important. I've said this and I've banged on about this. Manchester United need to make sure that we're getting the right targets. But if we don't qualify for Europe, there is a massive fear, especially with me looking at this. And what I read is that these players are just not going to be as interested in Manchester United. The name is massive. The name is United. And we will still get players that you wouldn't expect, even without European football. That's what this club is. It's huge. Don't take it for granted, though. You have to act now and do something that could change. Don't allow this season to just spiral into another, well, there goes another season, another development season. There's a lot of change going on behind the scenes, and we just have to go through this transition period. Shut up. No. We cannot do that at Manchester United. You cannot allow this club to be continuously out of Europe. Standards have to be met. Standards have dropped so low. United need to be going out in January and getting these players in if they fear that they're going to miss out on other targets from the summer transfer window. This is what United used to do. We used to make sure that that player was ours because we had standards, because we had that level where we needed to be, and we were never prepared to drop below it. Right now, we're just making excuses for being down there. I said this season, I said, United should be top 4. This team should make top 4. This squad should make top 4 without any European football or distraction. Every single club that doesn't have that European distraction or midweek games manages to get right up there and compete. Newcastle do it every time. Nottingham Forest did it last season. There's no excuse for Manchester United. And bang, slap. They slapped me right in the face and shut me up and said we are still shit and we are not going to make that. So that's how it looks at the moment. Obviously, things can turn around, but from what I've seen so far, it has been the biggest, I feel for me, anyway, as a United fan, the biggest letdown, the biggest disappointment I've ever had in a Manchester United team. And that's where I feel we're at the moment. I don't think that Manchester United can go on much more. I don't think it's going to work under Ruben Amorim unless he changes. If he's not going to change, he's going to get the sack. And I've said, if we don't get European football, you deserve to be sacked. Should Manchester United accept the fact that we're not going to get there with Ruben Amorim now and make the decision earlier? Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see if that comes about. But he's got to make changes and he needs to get results to get these players in. Carlos Baleba at 75 million. I'm on board with that if he continues playing the way he did against Aston Villa the other day. I thought he was good against Aston Villa the other day. That was the old Carlos Baleba. He stood up. I know Villa won the game, but it was an absolute ding-dong. And he was absolutely brilliant in midfield, I thought, against Villa. And that was what we were watching last season. So I've wanted to watch a little bit more of him. I've not had the chance because we've been playing ourselves. But took that opportunity to watch him against Villa, against a good setup there. And he held his own and more in that game. Ball carrying, recoveries, strength, power. He was very, very good. And yeah, he got subbed off, I think, with about 10 minutes to go or something like that. So I think there's a positive sign there that we've actually got a player coming back to form maybe in Carlos Baleba that we really could do within our midfield, because the energy in that lad's game is something drastically missing from Manchester United. It really is. And I don't see us going forward with what we've got at all. I don't see us being able to get the targets that we want if we don't make European football. And the big concern is that the other players are going to just look elsewhere. There are better options now than Manchester United when it comes to football. I said it, and I think I said it on the show the other day as well, and I said it in last night's video. The agents of these players will look elsewhere. They will tell the player, look, this is Manchester United, but this right now gives you a better chance going forward. This team will get you into World Cups, international squads. United won't. That's the difference now. That's where we're at as a football club. Yes, the name is massive. The structure behind the scenes is great and everything is moving in the right direction. But that's going to come to a head soon as well, where big decisions are going to have to be made. And I think that Manchester United, with the likes of Jason Wilcox behind the scene, even without Ruben Amorim, they still have to stick to that plan of going out and buying these players that we're looking at now. It has to be that way. The manager shouldn't come into the recruitment side of things. He should have a say, but not be the be-all and end-all of recruitment. United need to move on with these players if Ruben's here or not. And that's the decision that they've got to make. We cannot allow this season to get to a point. And look, it's not there yet. If we beat Wolves, we're back in the mix again for European places, to-in and fro-in, stop-start, like I said. If it gets to a point now where we do drop into the bottom half of the table and it turns into last season all over again, which it very much can do for Manchester United with the way that we're shaping up this season and our inconsistencies, then time to make the call. I think that's where it's at. And I'll stand by what I said the other day. If Ruben Amorim does actually, if he doesn't win that game against Wolves, he should be sacked on Tuesday. It's as simple as that. You don't go to Wolves and not win. That is a must win for Ruben Amorim right there. And that's where I'm at with this coach and this team right now. Because the stories of Kobbie Mainoo that we spoke about after that game, and again, Kobbie comes into this conversation with the transfers and what's happening. His agent is trying to push him away from Manchester United because it's better for him. This is where you start to get conversations between agents and people talking outside of Manchester United. this is better. Players talk to other players as well. So you'll have Kobbie Mainoo, he'll be talking to likes of Cole Palmer, who he's mates with. Garnacho probably still as well. I'm sure that his agent's talking to the agents of them players also, and what's working best. And all of a sudden, that they're seeing their clients get nothing compared to what other players are getting elsewhere. And they will force the move away from Manchester United. He will get that move away. It's like what, for instance, Chris Wheeler said in the Daily Mail after the game over the last couple of days as well. Kobbie Mainoo hopes of leaving could depend on United signing a midfielder in January, after having blocked his departure in the summer when the agreements for Carlos Baleba and Conor Gallagher did not materialise. United is among the admirers of Elliot Anderson and Adam Wharton, but could go back for Baleba or Gallagher, and has also talks, and there have also been talks about Tyler Adams and João Gomez. Tyler Adams of Bournemouth, of course. And yeah, it's going to be a difficult one for Kobbie Mainoo to actually get that move away from Manchester United, because we don't know if we're going to bring anybody in. And I feel like Manchester United are at a point now with what Ruben Amorim said about Kobbie Mainoo, we might be forced into going in and buying a new player, a new midfielder in January. I do think that this is going down that road right now. If you've got a player there that, like Ruben said, you're not going to use, he didn't say them words exactly, but look, he said that if I don't want to play the player, I shouldn't be forced into playing the player, along them lines. There clearly is a problem behind the scenes with Kobbie Mainoo, and that, I think, needs to be sorted. And if Ruben's still there, then Kobbie needs to go. I think we all know that. And I think we came to that decision after the weekend and after the game on Thursday night. Sorry, after the Thursday night game, and obviously Kobbie not getting much game time at weekend either against Crystal Palace. I think we've come to the conclusion that time is up for one of these two. And either one of them now is trying to outlast the other, I think. Because Kobbie doesn't want to leave United, but he wants to play football. He's going to go. I'm going to keep to what I said, obviously. I don't really care for Kobbie Mainoo that much. He's just another squad player for Manchester United. But I am with him in regards to why Ruben won't use him. And I'm not having the facts that he just doesn't feel like he's the right player to bring on. I'm sorry. Kobbie Mainoo is better than Manuel Ugarte. And when you're trying to win a game, you've got to bring Kobbie on. So from what I have seen, and this is my opinion alone, that relationship is dead. And I think we've got another player versus coach situation developing under Ruben Amorim, like we know he's had before. And it's going down the same lines and the same roads as what was happening with Rashford and Garnacho. Kobbie's not them players, let me just get that straight. But it does look like the same situation is developing where he's just not going to give a player game time. If he doesn't like you, he doesn't play you. And he clearly doesn't like Kobbie Mainoo. Something has happened that he just doesn't like him. Because remember the scenes when he first walked in? Constantly talking to Kobbie Mainoo. The cameras were on it. The training sessions of Ruben Amorim with Kobbie when he first walked through the door and everything like that. He looked like he was going to be one of his main players. So something definitely has gone wrong behind the scenes. And I'm not having the fact that he doesn't feel like he's good enough to play. Because we know Kobbie Mainoo can do a job in a certain area for Manchester United. Ruben won't change his shape. Kobbie needs to leave, and United need to bring in another midfielder in January. Otherwise, I think this season is going to spiral out of control, and we're going to end up where he was last season. Ruben will get the sack, and it'll be complete chaos again, because I don't know who there is to come in. I don't know who United are going to get. So this is the importance of bringing in the right players and making sure certain decisions are made, because I look at the academy, I look at all the transfer targets, the potential players that could be coming in and playing for Manchester United, and I just don't see it. I don't see it actually materialising at all. And I don't see it working in any way at the moment for Manchester United. Not with what's going on with Ruben and how he's playing these players. He needs two absolute ballers. And if United are not in Europe, we're not going to get them ballers. So it's pointless. That's how it feels. I'm just speaking my mind, and I'm just bringing this news in and talking about what might potentially happen and what we could do, and then looking at how it's worked with United so far with Ruben. It just isn't going to work. It's not going to unless you get the best. But to get the best, we need to accept that the standards have to be higher, and Manchester United have got to do so much more. This season's big calls are going to have to be made. They really are. They really are. And Kobbie Mainoo is one of them. Not really the biggest. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's that much of a problem. And if United are winning games, the problem is Ruben made it a problem with the way he reacted to the situation with Kobbie in his press conference. So he's now got everybody talking about it because he was angry after that game and really disappointed. And look, I'm happy that Ruben Amorim is angry because he should be. We're getting a little bit of emotion out of him. We can't respond to the questions on Kobbie Mainoo the way he did without people speculating. And there's clearly something wrong, and there's a real issue behind the scenes there. So United's season, I think, depends on the January transfer window. I really do, because I'm seeing these players deteriorate. Some of the new players, they're falling back. And Mbeumo's been poor. Cunha's been poor. Not great from the start. I mean, Mbeumo's been poor the last couple of games. I need to make that clear because he has been brilliant from the start of the season and been the one shining light. But if he's dropping off, Ahmad's going to be leaving Manchester United for AFCON, obviously alongside Mbeumo and Mazraoui. Then I'm looking at them games and going, we can't beat Villa with that team. We can't beat Newcastle with that team. And then you're relying on getting a result against Bournemouth. The other two games in this period now left in this calendar year are back-to-back. Well, not back-to-back, but home and away against Wolves. The other three, I'm not too sure. I'm really not too sure. 5 more games left in this year. 2 of them are against Wolves. There's 6 points there right away. They have to beat Wolves twice in them games. And then you're looking at Bournemouth, Newcastle and Aston Villa. I don't fancy it. I don't fancy us in any of them games. I know that Bournemouth at home is one that we really do need to turn around. Maybe we'll have a better chance because we've got a team that might actually attack us and it's not a low block. This is all I can think about. The better teams, we might actually have a better chance, and because Wolves are so bad, we should beat them twice. Maybe we've got a chance of getting quite a few points out of these next 5 games. But that's me just positively thinking, like, I always do, when I'm always trying to find the plus point in what we've got going forward. But again, the attitude to some of these players under Ruben Amorim is massively concerning. And if Ruben is going to succeed, he needs better players to play with. The other question there is, I'm going to come to the chat on this now, is do you trust Ruben Amorim with the better players? That's the problem that we've got. Have you seen enough? And the majority of the fan base now have given up on Ruben Amorim. That's quite clear. They just don't see enough coming from him, and they don't see enough progression. A year, 13 months near enough where it is now since Ruben arrived is more than enough to see a bit of a picture developing, but a lot of fans are just not seeing that, and they're concerned about giving him more money now. That's where we're at. I mean, I would like money to be spent. I just know we're not going to get our top targets in January, and therefore we're going to still be in with the same problem for the rest of this season. Quite scary, actually, when you break it down as to what players missing is going to do to this team, because we have seen this. A couple of players going out. It's like, for instance, the miss of Benjamin Sesko for Man United. Quite clear. We just don't have that same focal point. All of a sudden, Manchester United have started crossing balls. We had a 6'6" striker who we never put crosses into. And now all of a sudden, since he's been injured, the last 2 home games, Manchester United has just been piling in cross after cross after cross. As soon as Sesko comes back, we won't put a ball into the box, will we? That's where it'll be with Man United. You just can't figure them out. We are missing certain players, but standards have dropped. Manchester United's standards need to go up. We need European football, or we're not going to get these targets to move forward. Big decisions are coming, whether it is in backing Ruben Amorim or sacking Ruben Amorim. I think that will come along. Big decisions with Kobbie Mainoo also. Do you go out and try and test these clubs' resolve with the top targets in January? If I'm United, I'm just going to go and slap 75 million down for Carlos Baleba in January and try and make something happen. I think that's the kind of approach that United need to be making. You've got to at least try and get someone in, try and make this work for us, because it's not going to last throughout this season. It isn't. I'm worried about the Burnley and the Leeds games, the turn of the year, because they're the 2 games before we go into the FA Cup. After the FA Cup, it's Arsenal and Manchester City back to back. We get through the majority of January and then get to the back end of it. Where are we going to be? Because that's where apparently the decisions on Kobbie Mainoo are going to be made. Transfers could come in the last 2 weeks of January after AFCON. I can't believe we're basing our whole transfer strategy around players playing in an international tournament. It just doesn't seem right, does it? Let's get into some of the comments. Just going to scroll randomly up and stop it, because although there's loads of you coming in, and I do apologise again if I don't get to your comment in the live chat, please do hop across into the comment section and drop them in after the live is finished as well, everybody. Greg, who is always the Mr. Positive, says, I'll be honest, I'm massively over this JJ lad. I don't care how much he plays like Cole Palmer. It's already player FC with him and his dad. This is the balance of academy players and giving them too much too soon. We've argued forever and a day on this channel that some of these younger players have been given the world too quickly. And then they turn out like Garnacho and Rashford. And some might say Kobbie Mainoo with wanting 200 grand a week wages. And that demand that his agent's coming out with. But JJ Gabriel is going to go elsewhere and is going to succeed elsewhere. Why can't Manchester United make these players work for them like other clubs do? We have done with JJ Gabriel what we have been bemoaning other clubs do, and we don't. That is getting a young talent and bringing them through and beating all of the other clubs to him. And now we've got this talent. There's a fear that we might lose him because Barcelona are going to come in and give him more. United do have to give this kid a little bit more if they want to keep him. That's the way that this world works. And if we like it or not, it doesn't really matter. I think United have to do a little bit more with him. It seems like we're going against what we've always said is wrong in doing so, but there is a real belief at Manchester United that you've got the next Ronaldo. And sometimes when you've got the absolute talent and the brilliant player, you do have to do things a little bit differently. Just hope that Manchester United and what we've got there working there now can do it better than what we did before, which I think they can. And I think they'll balance it just enough to make it work. Do expect to see JJ Gabriel sometime this season, probably in the FA Cup. Romano has hinted at it. I think what's being said here is that there is noises flying around about JJ Gabriel now, that all these other clubs are going to be in for him. He is this brilliant talent and everyone's going to want him. You're going to have to do a lot more to keep him, and agents do their work. People are talking behind the scenes, and then the pressure comes on the club to actually then do something about it. He should not be anywhere near Man United's first team squad. He shouldn't. But I think United are going to be forced into doing this just because they have got that talent, and it's crazy how that world works, but that's the reality of it. Morning, Adam, and the chat. What's happening with the 58 regards protest? I don't recognise this club anymore. I've heard nothing at all. Whether there is going to be anything over the next few months. I mean, what can the club do now? I mean, obviously, because Manchester United are not playing well, is that down to the ownership? They've given Ruben that money in the summer and he spent it on players that we all liked and thought were good signings. If he isn't getting the best out of that and the team he's got, then I can't really say anything about the club apart from why aren't they sacking Ruben Amorim? So in terms of protest, I don't think it matters one bit. I think we should judge the ownership when we get to the summers and January transfer windows, and let's see what happens there. Are they willing to invest into this team? If they go and spend another 300 million in the summer, then we can't really complain. That is up there with the maximum that any club will spend. I think judge them and see what they do in the summer, I think, is how I would take it and how I would look at it anyway. We keep getting rid of Deadwood, but we are getting worse. Players are not the issue. Ineos and Amorim are the main current issue. How are Ineos the issue with how we're playing? Is it just because you think that they should have sacked Ruben, maybe, Ken? I can only guess that's where it's at, and they need to make that call because they brought Ruben in. We were all happy when Ruben came in. They've given him this time, like they should do last season. They've allowed him to get rid of the crap. They backed him in the summer with decent amounts of money and good players, and we're still not getting anything out of Manchester United to where we would like. But again, if United beat Wolves on Monday, we're right up there. And what are we, 2 points off? Something like that, the Champions League places. And we're all moaning. It's just because we're not beating West Ham and Everton at home, isn't it? That's where we're at. It's really awkward at the moment. Really, really awkward to try and balance the season. You look at it and it can change instantly. The players do need to be... I think there's still a few more players that need to be outed though, Ken, to be honest. Honestly, Dalot needs to be gone this summer. I think time is up on the likes of Casemiro and Maguire, although I would like to see Maguire back in the team right now. I think decisions need to be made on Manuel Ugarte. I think he will be gone. Obviously, you're looking at Joshua Zirkzee. There'll be a decision made on Bruno Fernandes, no doubt, with 1 year left on his contract. Do we cash in? That's going to be a hot topic this summer as well. So, yeah, I think coming this summer, I think all of these answers that we've got here in terms of the rest of the deadwood, we could be seeing the back end of it. And then you can't really look else, you can't look anywhere apart from what the ownership bring in for the manager and what the manager gets out of the players. So I think this summer is going to be crucial for Manchester United it could actually be the end of the old guard. Finally, the end of the old guard. We will see, won't we? Adam, as you have said in the past, Amorim will not risk academy players as he must know now that his job is not safe. As for signing players, the team have to show that they want to win. Yeah, well, they do. And I don't think the attitude of the players in that game against West Ham was one of a team that were behind the manager and wanted to run through brick walls for him. Like Gary Neville said after the game, he said, I interviewed Ruben, and before it, he said he wanted more intensity. He wanted faster play. He wanted it to be a quicker pace. It was everything but that. It was the complete opposite. So, like Neville said, he's not telling his players to go out there and be and play slow and play lethargically. He's asking them to do it. So if they're not willing to do it, then where does the blame lie then? Is it in the players because they are not responding to anything Ruben? Or do they just not believe in him? That's the problem we've got. And until we get rid of most of this team, you're just never going to know, I don't think. And that's the weird situation that we're in right now, because we could get rid of all of these players and this could just carry on. Just don't know. Bayern Munich have Pavlovic, who is probably better than Baleba. Check out the young German midfielder. I've seen what Bayern Munich have got, but Bayern Munich will always want to improve and bring in more players, Al. So don't look at what they've got. Look at them as being a big club and wanting to invest in a bigger squad to challenge for the Champions League. That's what a big club does. And that's the fear that I've got. The good point that you make there, because they have got them players and are trying to get more. That is where United used to be. Right now, we're trying to make our starting 11 to even compete in our own league. Whereas the Bayern Munichs of this world can offer so much more because they have already got that core squad, because they have got standards that never drop. And they're trying to add to it to make sure that they can win the Champions League. Not just the Bundesliga, the Champions League. They're buying players to compete in that competition. United used to be there, but allowed ourselves to drop to where we are now, and people saying that this is actually okay. It's not okay. If you don't make European football this season, you should be sacked on the spot. That should be the standard. If you feel like, or if you're the ownership and you feel like this isn't going to happen, then you need to act on it. It's not about giving a manager a chance here. It's keeping the standards at the football club high. If you feel like they're not responding and they're not working for this manager, or he's not getting the right tune out of them, there's only one thing you can do as an ownership, and that is act upon that. It's happened before with other big clubs. Manchester United don't do it. We always give our managers a chance, and we always end up ruining that decision. We did it with Ten Hag. We gave him a chance when we'd already seen what was being produced. We're getting the same sort of story now with Ruben Amorim. He's literally clinging on by a thread because we could beat Wolves and then be right back up there, and it's another game on. And he talks about it game by game, doesn't he, all of the time, Ruben Amorim. He never changes. It's the next game, it's the next game, and it's constantly just a conveyor belt of the same responses to what he says are the same questions every single week from the journalists. But we know what we're watching, and we know that under Ruben Amorim, this team is just not going to do it. And it's not going to do it on a consistent level, even with these new players now. My biggest thing and my biggest change in how Manchester United are working is the difference in the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo, who are dropping off drastically now, and their performances against West Ham the other night and Crystal Palace, just they're nowhere near. I mean, there was moments in that game where I thought Todibo was bullying Mbeumo, and that's a crap player right there compared to Mbeumo. It just, the standards, I just hope he rediscovers them levels in Mbeumo, and he keeps his head above all of this crap that's going on, because if we start to get them players, if them players start to drop off in our team, then we don't stand a chance. We don't stand a chance. And it's like the better players fighting against everything else. I just don't get it. Like, you cannot compete in the Premier League with this quality of squad playing this system. The only thing you can do right now is adapt the system, adapt the formation, change something up on the pitch, bring in somebody different to play a different role maybe, or put someone in a different position to make this work for the best players that we've got. If it doesn't, then we're going to sink, and we're going to sink very, very fast. And it brings up the conversation of what we've just been saying with the transfers. These players won't come. These players won't come to United. That's my biggest concern now. One season out of the Champions League and Europe, fine. All right. That is a disaster for Manchester United, but we've always bounced back. If we make it back-to-back, then you watch the decline creep in. And you watch how Manchester United won't be able to bring in the right players. Honestly, how we have still got some of the players in this squad that we are using right now is beyond me. Dalot being one of them really is scary. Super chat in from Brian. Thank you, Brian Matey. Praying for a loss against Wolves leading to an Amorim sack, as we have no chance of Europe under Amorim. An interim will correctly utilise our squad. Ah, man, that is brutal from Brian there with a super chat. That is harsh. I mean, I would never want my team to lose, but I'm never going to take anybody else's opinion and say that it is completely wrong. I can disagree with it, but everyone reacts differently to how things are going on. And that's where it's led some of the Man United fans right now, that we actually aren't bothered about the result. Some people actually there, like Brian, saying that they would actually take a loss just to get Amorim out. Desperate, isn't it? And that's where we are right now, it would seem. But a couple of wins and everything changes. And that's what I was trying to say the other day. But I expected Manchester United to beat to beat West Ham at home, and we didn't. And just watching this team and watching them the way that they played, I thought was, oh God, it just brought back so many bad memories from last season. Until you lot admit that players aren't in their right positions, then we're lying to ourselves. And Mbeumo is a touchline winger, not a 10. Bruno ain't a DM. Ahmad ain't really a wing-back. Yoro is not a wide centre-back. I mean, wide centre-back and Mbeumo is a 10. Mbeumo is a 10, fly boys. He has played there before. He's played for his country there, and he's played for Brentford there. I do get the majority of his games have been played out wide, and it would be nice. Do you know what? Do you know what I would love to see? I would love to see a 4-4-2. It's just a standard 4-4-2 formation. Yes, it's two midfielders, but I'd play Bruno. I'd actually play Bruno in as a number 10, and maybe put him behind Sesko and let Bruno drop into a three-man midfield in certain parts of the game. Play Brian and Mbeumo one side. You could maybe play Ahmad the other. Mix it up with Cunha. Drop Bruno out for Cunha. Put Cunha in at number 10. Look, you could maybe even put Mason Mount in there as a number 10 as well. He's just got to be brave enough to drop some of these big players to the bench. But what would that do? That would give us our chance to play our best two centre-backs. It would give us a chance to play fullbacks as fullbacks. And like I said, wingers as wingers. I'd take that all day long. I mean, straight away, if you played a 4-4-2, the options open to you now with even the players that we've got missing is so much better. Because obviously you'd play Lamens, then you've got your two centre-backs. I would probably go with De Ligt and maybe you're looking at pace at the moment, but my most reliable defenders at the moment, I would probably play De Ligt and maybe Maguire, Euro, one of the two. You could play any of them. You can have Mazraoui at right back, and then you've got Luke Shaw at left back. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling so much happier about my team. Then you move into the midfield, and then whatever you want to do. You could put Kobbie Mainoo in there. You could play Bruno Fernandes in at number 10. You could put Cunha at 10, Mount at 10. You could play any of them there. Play Mbeumo out wide. Play Ahmad on the other side. I'd play Casemiro and probably Kobbie Mainoo maybe in there. But then I would be looking at potentially having too many attacking type of midfielders in with only two centre-backs. But then, of course, when you've got a 4-4-2, you can have the inverted type of fullback coming in to make the extra midfielder when necessary, because you've also got another winger and you've got two people out wide. And there's so much you can do with it. There really is. And the fact that he is trying to shoehorn players into this system is going to destroy Ruben Amorim. It really is, isn't it? Doesn't matter what manager you have. We've been through a handful of managers in 10 years. It's the players don't want to perform every week. Well, this summer again, like I said, is going to be big for that then. Have we got a different manager? Have we got rid of a lot of these players? Gregory says the Premier League is not as tough as most seasons. Opportunities should be available for positive results this season, mate. Well, I think you're exactly right on that, buddy, because that's what we've seen. And United not being that great in certain games, it goes to show, doesn't it? We're still in touch with the European places well over a third of the way through the season. And we will be even more in touch if we beat Wolves on Monday. It's a crazy old one, isn't it? But I'm not going to start blowing the trumpet for Manchester United being back into European contention after we beat Wolves. It's just another game for me that we just need to win right now. I'm looking already ahead to them games coming up. And the last game for Mbeumo and Ahmad is Bournemouth at home. And then you're looking at, Newcastle and Aston Villa. Well, it's Aston Villa first on the 21st. And then I think we play Newcastle, obviously, on Boxing Day. I'm not looking forward to either of them games without Ahmad and Mbeumo in the side. I pray that Sesko is back, so we've got a better striker and a bit more of a target man we can go direct to, because honestly, watching Xerxes over the last few games has really concerned me. One half of football from him, decent performance, is all we've had to cling on to. Nowhere near enough and not good enough for Manchester United. And that, again, I think is going to be the bigger concern and leading into January. Apparently, we're not going to do business in January until the last 2 weeks of it. And them games that we play before the last 2 weeks of January are Burnley and Leeds away, Manchester City at home, Arsenal away, the FA Cup. So they're the 5 games that we've got to play in January before we do any business. And if we get a bad draw in the FA Cup, then we could be out of that. And then that is an absolute disaster of a season. And it's pretty much over in January. Because we've seen what these players are like for Ruben Amorim, and we've got to then cling on to them players, hopefully, turning out performances for Ruben, turning it around. What have we seen from these players that convinces us that we're going to turn that around? Don't see it. Really don't. What else we've got in the chat here? Get your comments in, everybody. Good chance here now to get as many comments as we possibly can. United are better with wingers and fullbacks, but other fans dubious about only 2 central mids in the Prem. Yet that's what we currently have. That from Lawrence there. Mr. Moisey, it says 2-man defence, Euro and De Ligt, Dorgu and Mbeumo as wide midfielders, attacking back wide. Casemiro and Agate in DM with Mainoo and Bruno in central midfield. Sesko, Xerxes and Cunha front 3. Works quite a lot of players in there, mate. Or do you mean like they're the covers and they're the players fighting for each position? Probably more. That's why I think you're going with it anyway, because we can't get all them players on the pitch at once. No wonder Old Trafford are reducing ticket prices for the Bournemouth game. I didn't see that, Babs, but that there is something that we probably do need to talk about then, don't we? That's quite clear that fans are already starting to give up. We did this. This happened last season. There was a lot of games Manchester United had to get through last season. And so far this season, it's been quite easy because we've not had a lot of games. But I'll check that out as well, Babs. But if that is right, then that's already starting to affect the fan base. If they're turning away and they're not coming to Old Trafford, because, to be honest, the last two games, if you've been to Old Trafford and you were there, you will know exactly what I'm saying right now, and that is that it has been absolute crap. It's been horrible to watch. It really has. And I'm not going into Christmas. I don't blame fans. I really don't blame fans because they're not getting anything back from these players. They're not going to care. It's a big, big commitment going to every single game to watch Manchester United. And they don't give a toss. They don't give a toss. If they did, then they would perform better and give more. But they just haven't got it in them. And they've shown that. So fans are turning away. Tickets are not being sold. Manchester United selling them cheaper. I'm not surprised by that one bit. And I don't think that the fan base are going to... I don't think the fan base are going to accept these performances. If we don't turn up against Bournemouth, it's going to be a crap Christmas for Manchester United. We cannot lose that game again like we have done in previous seasons. I just don't know, though. I just don't know if these players have got anything in them. Please do keep popping a like on the video as well if you haven't already. Thank you, everybody who was in the room with us. Saturday morning ahead of all of the fixtures this weekend. There's a big one at lunchtime today. What a game that's going to be. Was thinking about covering it, actually, on FUTV, but not sure what to do yet for the afternoon's content with that. But if anyone is up for it, let me know. Get into the chat, get into the comments. Should we do a rival watch on that game? I'm with Alfie early this morning watching his game for FC United, so don't know what time I'm back on that one, but I'll keep you updated with what we're planning and what we're doing throughout the day, so make sure that you do obviously keep your bell notification button switched on, as well as subscribing if you haven't already, everybody. The lunacy of United is summed up with selling McTominay for 25 million and buying Agate for 50 million. Playing McTominay in the wrong position constantly year after year after year is probably just as bad as well, David. And he's thriving now in a team that's playing him where he should be playing. And good on him. Good on him. I'm actually happy to see McTominay doing so well, because he just... I went in on McTominay so many times, and I've eaten my words in trying to back a club over a player in that situation. Scott McTominay deserved so much more than what he got from this Man United fan base, myself included. I'll own up to that and say that. But watching what United are doing now and watching how desperate we are, Scott McTominay was in the middle of that. He should never have been played in the position that he was played in at Manchester United. He was absolutely destroyed by us and still held his own for the majority. It was crazy. It's criminal what happened to him at United. And we've seen it with other players. It's completely misprofiled and played in the wrong position. It's a joke. Keep the faith. Try to lift the mood. Demand transfers. Put the pressure on the Ratty and the Glazers, says Skynet. The menu should definitely start if we get a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 manager. Well, if we're not going to sign anyone, you've got a player like that sat there who could work in them systems, and then Manu will definitely play. If Ruben changed to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, Manu comes straight into the side. He's perfect for that. He's perfect for that formation. And Ruben's saying the system evolving all the time. I've said this before. I've been keeping an eye on this. It doesn't. It doesn't. The back three are so stuck, and I don't know what's the right word I'm trying to use here for it. They're just static. They don't move. The back three are always there. If you've got three centre backs, then you're always going to be overrun in the rest of the pitch, around the rest of the pitch. They don't move. I can see it in the game. Like maybe it's because Mazraoui, Heaven and Shaw have never played together before, but they just did not move. They were always there. And if you can imagine straight away, right, you've got 3 centre-backs on the pitch and the substitutes are all based around them 3 centre-backs, as we've seen with Ruben Amorim. If they're there and they're staying there all of the time, you're always going to be overrun everywhere else on the pitch because you're playing with 1 man less. Why have we got 3 centre-backs marking Callum Wilson? Brain dead. It doesn't make sense. Callum Wilson. So they're stuck there. Then all of a sudden, you've got the rest of West Ham's side there overrunning Manchester United's midfield, always winning the second balls. Ruben talks about the second balls, but to win second balls, you need to have more players in a certain area, in a certain scenario. And we're always struggling against every team because we don't have confidence in our back three for them players to push forward into that position. It just shows that they're not latching on to what Ruben Amorim wants from them. So what do you blame? You blame the manager because he knows the player's capabilities and the player can't do that? Or do you blame the player because he's just not listening to Ruben? Like I said before, should these players be able to play in any system? They should be. They're professional footballers. If they can't, then you look at the ownership and you say, well, why are you not moving that player out then? Because he's not good enough. That's where it works. It's that order. The manager and the coach tells you where he wants you to play. He's in charge. If you don't adapt to that, then you're not good enough and you're sold. United have got it wrong in so many different areas. It's crazy. You brought a manager in that hasn't got the players to play his system. The players that he's putting in this system can't play it, and we're not getting rid of them. And then, obviously, the confidence within the team then deteriorates to a point where we end up losing that manager that you brought in. The confidence fell out of Ruben Amorim last season when we went on an horrific run towards the back end of the season and we lost to Spurs. I just don't think the players have ever really been on board with Ruben after that. And yeah, we got rid of some players, the right players that needed to be gotten rid of. But don't forget as well, we're talking about Deadwood here that really wasn't even contributing to Manchester United's team last season. Rashford didn't for the back end. Sancho did nothing for us. These players were already out on loan. Anthony went out on loan as well last season. He was gone. So the Deadwood that we were talking about, we got rid of. Yes, that was phase 1 of the actual exodus. Phase 2, well, you could actually say this is phase 3 because phase 1 was like the Mason Greenwood season and all of that when Ineos first came in. Last summer, we got rid of quite a lot. This summer, now we're looking at players that are actually on the pitch and what we're needing to get rid of. Because that's the difference now. The majority of the players that we actually got rid of in the summer were players that really needed to go because they weren't going to play. This season, we've got players on this pitch that need to be sold and gone. Players that are actually contributing to the team this season that aren't good enough. Agate, Dalot, Dirksey, Casemiro will leave, obviously. Questions on Bruno Fernandes as well. Does Luke Shaw get a new contract on top of that? Also, all of these types of players. Now, you could definitely, if you look at players that featured against West Ham, our last game that we played, players that were actually playing for us in that game, you could name a few of them that should not be at this football club. And when you can say that, when you're further away through the season, then you know that there's something wrong. Dalot, gone. Agate, gone. Xerxes, gone. And you're looking at Casemiro, he's going to go anyway. There's 4 already. 4 gone already. Without even getting into the other frailties and problems that we've got in certain players in this squad as well. This is where I will start to judge Ineos properly. We're getting closer to that 3-year period that I said they should be given to try and change things. We're looking at big decisions now. We've got through the easy stuff, the obvious, Deadwood, problem players, get rid of that, bang, that's done. Now we're talking football. Now we're talking what we can do on the pitch. And their decisions will influence how Manchester United move forward. Because right now we're a mid-table team. So their decisions are going to make a difference on how Man United move forward. This is the point now. This is where we're actually at. And this is where it starts to get crucial. The easy stuff, yeah, bringing players in, signing players for big money. Easy, anyone can do that. What about the players' contracts that shouldn't be getting a contract? What about the players that are not good enough, that need to be sold? What about the manager and whether he's getting more out of it? Big calls are coming, and this is where they will be judged properly. Everything else goes out of the window. You forget about your ticket prices. You forget about everything. You forget about the signings and players coming in. The biggest calls for Ineos to make are who is leaving this football club this summer. Maybe even this January. That's when we're going to start judging what they do, I think, more. Mbeumo could convert to a winger/10 hybrid like Semenyo. Ahmad do that job on the other side once once the back goes. There's so many ways that it works easier for the players that we've got in this squad when you change your formation. Look, I think we've definitely covered that. Mark says, unfortunately for Amorim, he is stubborn, making mistakes, getting poor results, but the system ain't the issue when we win, is it? Only when we lose. Come on, people. Only when we lose. Well, no, it's not, because I think we're looking at this as an overall picture here. I brought up the point that Manchester United have lost 1 game in 8. On paper, you're saying that's all right. That's not bad. One defeat in 8. Let's not look. We go look at that. 4 wins, 3 draws, 1 defeat. It's not the worst. Definitely not. And it's better than what it was last season. So you could argue, yeah, maybe the system works. But then you look at the games and you go, the frailties are there still. Big time. The fact that we were leading against Forest, drew. Leading against Spurs, drew. Leading against West Ham, drew. Lost against 10-man Everton at home with 80 minutes with 10-man extra man. Lost that game. Second half against Crystal Palace, they were tired and we had a couple of moments from set pieces. That's what you can look at. So look, I looked at the positives in that game as it was a bit of a reaction after the Everton loss, but you then needed to beat West Ham. Every time Manchester United have had a chance to go further in this league, they have failed. That's a weakness within. So there is a problem. There is a problem there. And I still look at players and certain players dropping off in form as well. And all we're doing is hoping that somebody's just going to stand up and do something. Nobody expected Mason Mount and Xerxes to be the match winners against Crystal Palace. That came out the blue. We're not seeing anything progression-wise in terms of players getting better and players linking up and playing well in the system. That's not there. What we're saying is it's always waiting for someone to do something and some player to actually create something out of nothing. I don't want to use the words Moments FC again all of the time. It's what everybody says. But it really is, isn't it? That's what you're looking at. A moment from a set piece. A moment from Bruno. A moment from Mbeumo. Something spectacular. The one complete game that we had where we created chance after chance after chance and we didn't buckle under a bit of adversity was Brighton. Was Brighton at home. That was the one performance that I thought the players have got it. They really are here on this, and I think we can move forward here from this. That's when I thought, you know what, maybe this is going to happen. And then we had the poor away for performances where we thought we had a little bit of mentality creeping back in and strength in the way that we didn't buckle when going behind against Tottenham and Forest, even though we led them games as well. He was hoping that it was going to move on from there. And then obviously, well, Everton set us all back badly. And then West Ham the other night, that made Crystal Palace look like a bit of a fluke. And that's what's in us right now. That's where we're at as a fan base. That we have seen over the last 5 games. Is it 5 games that we've seen over the last 5 games that we've only managed to win 1. And that was against Forest, Spurs, Crystal Palace, Everton and West Ham. 1 game won. Good job we beat Sunderland, Liverpool and Brighton. Otherwise, we'd be in a bit of trouble, wouldn't we? It's not consistent enough. We will beat Wolves on Monday. I'm fully convinced we'll beat Wolves on Monday. And then let's see what happens against Bournemouth. That's a scary one. That's a scary one because that's leading us into the bigger games of Aston Villa and Newcastle. But that table is going to change again this weekend. We've gone on for a while here. Sorry, everybody. That video the show has just dragged on a little bit there. Thank you so much for all the likes. Don't forget, the link in the description is for OK Jerseys. Get your replica kits now while you can. Christmas deliveries in. There are loads of different kits like this one. This is the latest goalkeeper top. Absolute brilliant quality. Again, from OK Jerseys, just £15. If you use Adam on promo code on checkout as well, you get a bit more discount on top of that. So all of your replicas for every single kit, and loads of great retros and special edition stuff as well in there. So get onto that, click on the link in the live chat and in the description as well on OK Jerseys, everybody, and grab your bargains now. Get your stockings filled, ready for Crimbo. That's it, everyone, for the show this morning. Good old chat this morning. Not loads going around in the news. Give me your thoughts on Carlos Baleba and just making a bid for him perhaps in January to beat the competition. Are you concerned over the future of Manchester United if we don't finish in a good league position this season? Are we going to miss out on top targets? They're your main topics. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I will see you all later on. Keep up to date. Make sure that you are watching everything that's coming up by clicking on your notifications button. Keep that on, and I will let you know later on what's happening. Cheers, everybody. I'll see you all in a bit.